We're in, by the way.
Yeah.
Just talking of that quickly. Yeah? Lippy posted something the other day. Lippy posted something the other day with some you kissing a guy's foot or whatever. Yeah. And I know everyone's trying to find who the you is that was trying to be the bully in that. And like I was looking at the thing and I was like, obviously, like if this dude actually believed in his source, he would have been able to punch up this little brother that was telling him to kiss his.
Oh, is that the racist thing?
Nah, it wasn't a racist thing.
I saw one with
but it's like, you know what? It wouldn't surprise me now if one day this kid who ended up kissing the boy's foot turned around and said, "Hold on a minute."
Wait. Is that the boy that was kicking ball?
No. There's nothing. See what I'm saying? There's enough of them.
Yeah.
There's enough of them. But what was I gonna say? You was talking about before about if you wasn't a bad boy at a certain point.
Yeah, it's long now. You don't need it's over. I don't think anyone should be turning into a bad man at 30, trying to prove themselves for what they missed when they was 21. Just don't make too much sense to me.
Yeah. I kind of see it like, you know what? If you wasn't a bad boy when you was younger, even when you was in your 20s, being a bad boy in your 30s is like getting your first tat at 35.
It's counterproductive.
It's mad.
It's counterproductive.
It's mad, bro.
It's almost like seeing Scribs in a baseball cap. No one's asking for that.
I've never seen it.
Exactly. No one's asking for Scribs in a baseball cap.
I feel like there's even that, I just feel like, maybe I'm diverting the conversation a little bit, but it just goes back to what I'm saying. There's a cut-off point in it. There's like a cut-off point of where it's like, all right, now, if you're thinking about being a bad boy now, just allow it in it.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
You gotta leave it.
Same with the tap.
If you now should have a mortgage and at least half a child, so that's 4.5 months in the stomach, and a future sorted out, the term boy should never even be associated to anything you're doing, because you are a man.
Bad man.
So if you want to be a bad boy,
Yeah, true.
and if you want to be a bad man, I'm afraid you're 9 years too late. Because some of the
Trust
bad
me.
men are really like the cut-off point. Some of these youths, they're recce at 15. And if you're recce at 15 and you do a madness and you go prison, worst case, you're out at 24, 25. You still have your whole life at Eddie.
Exactly.
But if you want to be a bad man at 30, you might come out
It's
at
not
40
the time.
something.
Anyway, we're supposed to be fucking progressing. Get me? Leave that behind. If anything, we're trying to forget it. Well, everyone I know is trying to just pretend this shit never happened.
It's kind of dead going to... There's like certain things... Obviously going to jail is not the move anyway, yeah? But there's like certain things that at a certain age you should just not be going to jail for, bro.
I hear that. But some people go to jail deliberately.
Oh yeah, because they're
Mechanical money.
institutionalized.
No, not just that. It's just like, oh, do you know how much P you can make in jail if you just get a good
Excuse
summer
me.
run?
I'm
being serious.
No, everyone knows this.
Bro, do you know how much P's you can make way more in jail more time than you can out here?
But
So
If you've got the screw.
that's a summer run.
Because right now I'm seeing a madness in your studio. I just want to know who went jail.
Huh?
Oh, man, listen.
What?
The studio's looking nice. I see new pop.
Why is everyone saying this?
It's getting so big
No,
now.
you lot ain't been here
So
for
who
time.
is making the money, big man? Because do you know where I'm coming from? It looks nice now that you're going in. I see Pop studio over there, and you said you make the most money when you go prison. Well, the question is, Savage Dan,
Nah.
who's gone prison, dog? Because the studio look
been here.
fresh up,
Should
dog.
have been an alright time to go jail though. Quarantine. That would have been a decent 3 months, and you could probably get me the price of drill, the price of everything went up.
Yeah, but you can't get visitors. You couldn't get visitors though.
Huh?
You could get visitors. You're gonna get to plug the thing?
What do you mean? There's
What?
Bro, you don't. Bro, you got
What?
screws, bro. The screws.
Oh, the screws.
Bro, they are the way in, bro.
Oh, that's mad. Do the screws plug? That's nuts. And you know, hey, listen, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro.
Mad.
Plugging was always the maddest thing to me. I was never on plugging anything, bro. I don't know about. Did you plug?
Yeah, no.
That's outrageous. How much?
But-
I mean, obviously not. Don't say that.
Yeah. Yeah, but man, not lots. What I'm saying, and also, not even just that. As in, you don't just plug for no reason. You don't plug when you're hitting. Like,
Oh.
you know what I'm saying? You plug it
When it gets on top.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Shit.
But even then, bro,
When it gets on
bro,
top,
I'll
you
be
plug.
honest, yeah. My whole that whole part of my life didn't last that long because I found it. I probably weren't made. You see, like for me, I feel like for the amount of times you gotta leave your yard and the amount of times you gotta do this and that, for all of that work, I'm not gonna lie. I want 100 bags a month.
Oh, what?
In out, this, that. I can't even watch a football match.
What to involve?
Phone Nokia just going ring every 4 or 5
What,
minutes.
just for the life or for the plug?
For everything.
No, I'm talking for the whole thing. Like I didn't do any of that for that long. Like a year at most before I decided to go into more complicated crimes.
Mm.
Do you reckon so? You basically what you're saying is the man them that sing along to Drake Future really on the plug have put a lot of stuff somewhere.
Bro, there's a lot of people that talk about the plug or talk about Poppy, bro. But get me I'm not seeing the P's in it. All I'm saying is I personally don't think there's a very good risk to reward, like balance when it comes to shotting. I probably don't think that there is. I
definitely don't think you should be 45, 50 going to jail for 10s and 20 and scores.
Yeah, but
Go away.
I'm sorry, bro. That is dead, bro.
If
you're 45, 50 and you go into jail for a score,
well, just think about it. Yeah,
that's crazy.
What country are you in?
You get caught.
What country are you in to go to prison? Oh, Dubai, maybe. Yeah, I hear you.
But just in general, yeah, like you get caught with stuff here. Like you get far more than a slap on a wrist. Whereas with other crimes that can potentially make you less hurtful to the community and all of that. I feel like even if you get caught, there's not that much of a punishment in comparison. I feel like the whole road thing, you don't get a good return for it in terms of like what you gain for what you lose is imbalanced because you're losing friends, you're losing time. More likely they're not gonna go jail these days because there's cameras and jakes everywhere. You're losing everything. Like you lose so much for not even that much peace.
I disagree, you know.
Do you?
Yeah, I think it's all down to the amount of time in which you invest in it. I could never tell someone not to do it. If you've got a plan, it's cool. Because I can't just say to you, come and do what we do. Because a lot of what we do, until we figure it out, works off impulse. Yeah. So I think once you learn the science behind anything, big man, you can do anything.
But as an old,
but the risk is mad.
Guy, but what I'm saying is, yeah.
Do you mean it's like a big man?
Good advice is still good advice. It don't matter who it comes from.
I agree.
It's good advice to not do crime for money. It is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't matter how good of a person I am. That is good advice, innit? It doesn't matter.
That's why I'm a prick. I just disagree.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think it's good advice.
It depends on what does it depend on?
Listen, if you don't have a plan and you work off impulse in anything in life, I think that's bad. But I can't tell a man with a plan not to do something if he executes it and life goes well. I think half of us just work off impulse or listen to people that don't know fuck all.
Even if I smoke, I don't smoke, yeah? But I would still tell my son, don't smoke.
No, I hear where you're coming from, but that's different to me saying, because I'm thinking about what you learn. I don't think about the risks. I think about if you do get through it. Say you say I'm going to do it for 5 years and you do it for 5 years. Forget about the risks and what the hell have you learned life skill wise? The life skills you've learned, cuz you could go in any job and you might not even learn those life skills.
The trade-off is, bro, you gotta get lucky every day. These 100%. Jakes gotta get lucky just once, and that'll cost you 6 years or a few years or whatever it is, depending on like, what the judge is like on that morning. Yeah. So I'm saying, I just feel like.
But you know why though? Because this is what I'm trying to say to you. I know, and I'm not even trying to act like I'm trying to be an advocate for crime, because I, again, don't advise crime. But if someone's so deep in it, I'm not telling you not. I don't even want to be involved.
I could go one step further, but go on.
Because all I think to myself is the reasons why you get caught by police is because they spend their whole time trying to figure out how to catch you, and you spend your whole time just trying to sell something. So if they don't catch you, cause they're idiots, they're spending their whole
do you
time.
Know what? I used to feel.
Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, but I don't think it's just your mistakes that will get you nicked now.
No. But that's what I'm trying to say to you. If you have a plan, I'm not saying you're guaranteed. Yeah. It's not guaranteed to work. It's not even guaranteed in any capacity. You're right. But out of the amount of people that do it, the amount of people that I know that, or may have known, that have done it and passed through and said, I don't do that no more, and do a different thing with their life, but carry them same skills they learned,
but
it's more than the amount of people that go in prison.
There's bigger fish to fry. So if you just did it for a young summer and you had 4 shouts on your phone, you can't even really consider that shotting. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't. I'm talking for people. Weekend. I'm talking Nokia's just going off. You got 3 of them. You got a line there. I'm talking those people, especially nowadays, where everyone kind of wants to show what they're doing and
that's the problem.
What they're doing. Yeah. But even without that, even if just suppose you dot all your I's and cross all your T's, you never keep the food in the same place as the people. Like all of this, do it all right. All it takes for someone to snitch.
And my brother, and I'm telling you, you're fully right. But again, it goes. I look at it from a life perspective. If people are doing something and there's people shouting about it, and they're getting nicked, I'm not saying you're not gonna get nicked. I'm just going to figure out a clever way because do you know what? Nothing in life is that simple. Just because you see me and Chuckie on a podcast talking positive things, you can jump on a podcast and just talk positive things and it works. I think anything you do in life, you actually need a plan. And once you have a plan, I think
makes it easier.
It makes the whole, because you're working towards something. But if you're working towards what you're saying, or if I'm working towards what Callum's saying, or I'm working towards absolutely nothing, just being impulsive, I think there's always a risk.
It's inevitably going to be a bad ending. But even if you have got an out and a great plan, it could still be a bad ending. All I'm saying is, obviously, I did hella crime, bro. I don't even know what's on my record, But in general, I would say, good advice, try to stay away from it. And well, if you have to do it, just be as smart as you can.
Well, look at this, though. Look at this as well, though. See, it depends also on the crime, essentially. Because, for example, how much man is in jail for selling weed and then what? They're going to legalize it?
Yeah, but do you know, it depends. So, like, more time, depends.
So, again, if you got a plan, I know that, like, legally, you're not supposed to do that. And I'm not saying that anyone should do it. But for me, I'm just kind of like, I just think that some things are just about context, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. But here's the thing, where this system is still run by individuals and people. Well, you'll see two people, do the exact same crime, go into two different courts in the morning, 10 a.m. You got their thing. One will get 4 years and one will get 8 years, depending on that judge in terms of like the threshold. Yeah.
And sometimes depending on your environment, your skin tone,
how you present
yourself, all of these type of things.
And whether the judge had their damn croissants in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of it.
If he's hungry, it could affect. Do you know what's so mad? What I've realised from this discussion here? It's more like if you're not in it, don't bother. Just do something else. Yeah. But if you're in it, it's not the end of the world. Think about the life skills you've learned and figure a way out. Get a plan. I think most importantly, you just gotta have a plan. Yes. I advise everyone.
But more importantly, my thing is this: if you can shop. Let's look at the margins. The margins. Just suppose you're getting your thing at an average of 25 per ticket, or whatever. You're shutting it for 50, 60. I don't know what it is these days. I see these prices fluctuate. That's still only a markup of like 50, 60%. You can buy and sell toothbrushes on eBay for the same thing.
What did I say to you? Do you remember what I said on the podcast before when I was like, for some people, it's better that they just go and work in Tesco's or Starbucks. I said, actually, I think my exact words were, like, there's a lot of young bucks in particular who are finding themselves, unfortunately, in situations where they're selling for a man or whatnot, clumsy with the food, losing it, all of that stuff. Now you find yourself working for free because you've got to work off what you've just lost. In Starbucks, bro, you don't have to work off the caffeine.
But pause. This is the reason why I can't advise that, but I do hear where you're coming from. Because I'm still thinking about life skills. The most important thing I've ever learned in my life is life skills. I don't even remember anything from geography. Do you know what taught me good geography? Football. That's another story. I'll be honest with you, Chucks. Like, how can I tell someone not to do something that gives them incredible life skills? And I understand that, like you said, when you give it context and you say, but you're in this country, it's quite dangerous. But if I look at it in the scale of life, like life on a whole, it's a life skill. And I take a look at the amount of individuals. If I say to a person, don't do that, I wonder what Jay-Z would have been about them life skills.
100%. But what I'm saying is the cost, trust me, there's a cost that we don't see.
No.
Where every shot we're hitting, trust me, they are deteriorating.
Dan, when I say to you, I fully hear where you're coming from. But you know what the good thing you've done? You've presented the risk and the danger. Yeah. By presenting risk and danger, you incorporate that in your plan. And again, I'm not saying to people, go and do stuff. But what I am saying is, if you've got a plan, whatever's coming against you, at least you're parallel with them. But if you do anything in life without a plan, just understand there's someone around you that has got a plan. And I think the reasons why these young kids will go into something like that is because they see a staircase model to success. And if you go to McDonald's, you can't tell me the staircase model to success. So I couldn't say to a young person, go work there, because I understand why they're even going to work there anyway. They've seen the VW go for the spinning rims and they've seen the next man with a chain. And so if I don't go to Tesco's and see a man come out with a rollie and a long chain, what am I going there for?
I see it as well because I work with enough. I'm around enough man.
I'm not saying go and do it.
That want to do music, for example, and obviously they're doing their whatever it is to make their money. But in a way, it's a ticking time bomb. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're doing your music. A lot of times you might reference your life in your music, and then you're doing that to fund what you want to do forever, which is your music. That's what I'm saying. And then Yeah, I mean, it's all for nothing if you get nicked, bro. It's just once. It's just once. Time that wrong once, and you're in a bit of trouble.
Do you know what though? The plan thing is 100% right, and I understand that, and I identify with that. Yeah, I identify with that more than a lot of people. What I will say as well, though, I feel like really the conversation amongst young people, anyway, more should be how they look at success. Because you look at the older on this estate with the chain and the watch and the car and all of these things, and you see that as success. But is it? No. Is it? Like, you can have all of these things, but you could still be low. Do you get what I'm saying? I'll never forget. There was one brother, I'm not going to say his name, but there was one guy on my estate, yeah. He was what we saw as success, bruv. He had the whip. Every day on the estate, it was like, he just had the sick whip. He had a crisp gal. He just had bare dough. He was always like, can you go shop for me? Yeah, all right, cool, boom. Quick edge note, just go and get me a fucking, you get what I'm saying? Go and get me a lollipop or something like that. And keep the change in that. What? Listen, I wanted him to send me shop all the time. Yeah. If he sent me shop at least 4 times a week, 5 times a week, I might have been a runner-up. Yeah. just off that. But, that's lit, though. But in the end, yeah, how that shit ended for him was so mad, bro. It's how he ended up. Yeah, it was mad. He ended up fucking getting raided, lost everything, whatever, went in jail. Then I remember seeing him maybe like 5 years later, yeah. He was wearing a tracksuit bottom. He was wearing tracksuit bottoms, had a hole in it, and an old Mike Tyson t-shirt. And I looked at him and I was like, damn, homie.
But it's decisions. Yeah, I mean, we're going on.
But I looked at him, but I looked at him as the most, like, that to me was success. If someone would have asked me at that age, point out what you think is success, I would have looked at him and said he's success.
But all that is desirable, though. He has things that are desirable.
Exactly.
I remember that couple years where everyone and their flipping sister got a flipping a presidential. Everyone got one. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was like almost a sign of, I got the date, and then like all the flipping, I don't know, the E class or whatever it is, the S class, like, that's what's considered success, but it's not success. You know what I'm saying? It's not. It's just a couple of desirable things that you have that cost some money.
Yeah, and success.
All right, I thought about it now.
Go on.
I think we need information. I think we need to do research and we need to plan. And I'll tell you why I can't fully agree with what you're saying, because I understand. My dad went to prison at 13 years old. My dad's always been my idol. That confused me a little bit. And when I was younger, that confused me a little bit with my dad. But I can tell you, the principles my dad has laid down, he implemented in everything he done. So although he done something, and I can say it by law, he sold drugs because he served his time, he's gone prison and everybody knows about it, he's gone prison, whatever. The principles he's learned is the reason why I loved him. I didn't care about the many. He had like 7 Rolexes. Dan, I'm not trying to be boasty. My dad had 7 cars.
Yeah,
when I was like,
but you didn't.
Hear me out. I loved my dad because of the person he was. When he goes and he lost everything, as far as I'm concerned, he hasn't lost anything because he's maintained his principles.
That's his person, of course.
No, but imagine that person just had an occupation that people will say is this and say is that. Now, if my dad stuck to his principles when he came out, he would have carried on being the person that he was.
Yes.
His distractions were a woman, kids, all of these types of things. What I'm saying to you is the principles that you learn. If you have a plan and you do research, I don't think it actually matters because there's risks in everything. You can lose your life in some stuff. Yeah. You could lose your freedom in some stuff. You can lose your dignity. Mate, I've lost my virginity in something and I was like, that was a big risk as well. But what I'm saying to you, honestly, bro, is if you just do research to a situation and then plan off the spaces of the research,
most people
I was going on more of what success is. I think it's
to me, that's how you get success. That is how, to me, a better idea of success. Because if your success is the man that's got a lot of stuff, and then you do research to how he got a lot of stuff, and then you're like, wait, I can't get my lot of stuff like that. Like, I don't know how, is that how he got his business? Like, for example, say you thought Jeffrey Epstein was success, and then you find out about Jeffrey Epstein. That is no longer success to you, because you now have research into how he done it. So if you then look at everybody's story and look for the research,
see it as a success. Even if he did it can't. I see it as success. He may have blood on his hands.
Who's that?
But it's not success though. It's not success though.
Oh wait, was you talking about Epstein? Maybe I should take that back. I didn't mean it like that.
No.
Yeah. Hold on. I didn't realize you said him. I thought you said the Amazon Don.
No. So I'm saying to you, stay with me here. Oh my God. You ain't crazy, but I believe in you. Don't worry. I'm saying to you, if we start looking at what we see and deciding whether that's success or not, I just think we're all idiots. But if we have an idea of success that we want for ourselves and then we look at everybody's story and see if they're aligned, That's how you can find success, though.
All right, let me.
Because I think I've got a different thing in my head.
Let's just go off what Poet said, because I.
Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think the issue is that like the only way that maybe a young person is going to be able to have that perspective that you have now and that I have now is by passing that on. And
I'm not expecting him to have that though. I don't want you to say that because it looks like I was expecting to have that. I don't expect anyone to have anything.
I'm not.
No, but you rebutted, and you have to rebuttal correctly.
Cool. Let me elaborate, because I'm not saying that he's supposed to have that.
No, but off the back of what I'm saying just carry on anyway. I've made my point.
No, go on.
No, I've said what I said now. I said I beg you don't say it like that.
The thing is, I agree with what you're saying. And essentially, what I'm saying on top of that is the opposite of like, for me, when I was young, I didn't have someone that showed me. There was no examples of someone that came to me and said, you know what, yeah, like I respect my dad, but I don't respect him for the watches. I don't respect him for the cars and all of these things. Yeah, he went to jail, but he didn't lose anything. He still was who he was. I didn't have anyone that had that perspective. To me, I probably still would have looked at him with the watches and with these clothes and whatever and thought in my mind, he's lost it. And to me now, you're not successful anymore. That's how I would have seen it. But having someone that could essentially show me like, you know what, the way that you're viewing success and the way that we're looking at success on my estate is all a bit mad. It's all a bit wrong, bro.
Now pause there. This is why what I'm saying is amazing. I really think it's like my star. We never had that when we were younger, so we're doing it now. This is probably going to get about 50k views. That's 50,000 people that now have the information. If they tell one person
why I brought it up.
So I'm
why
saying
do you think I do this?
Come on, because you're a smart man. I know that. So I'm saying to you, bro, I feel like it's about telling people about principles. It's about telling people about researching, because if you understand why you want to be successful, then that is success.
Yeah,
but if
I'm
you have no
16,
idea,
at 16, I wasn't looking at
but
my
you're
mum
not
as a success.
No, but Dan,
Dan,
I was looking at.
I look at my mum as a success now.
Exactly.
But Dan. That's why it's good that we do this, so we tell the 16-year-olds what real success is. I understand that. But when I was younger,
that's what we're doing, bro.
Yeah. So but you know why I didn't?
I reckon, like, you get me when I'm doing all my fuckery.
But I don't want. Do you know what it is, Chuckie? Because this is what you need to understand. I know you hit the table and stuff, but what I'm saying to you is, if you just say it like that, you have to understand you're talking to a 16-year-old.
Yeah, no,
so if you hear me out, I have
it.
to admit. But if you talk to a 16-year-old like that, remember, I know what I'm talking about now. If you talk to a 16-year-old like that, cuz they're just gonna take the part that they want out. Well, you said you never had it when you're 16, so and I'm telling you that.
No. All right, so it's
but
clear.
it's on the internet.
I'm talking about my perspective on how I saw it, and then agreeing with what you're saying and how it is now.
Now we're good.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
No, but I'm telling you.
That's what I was doing.
Let me tell you something. I done a one post show interview with Wiley. We spoke for 45 minutes, and I had a conversation for someone for 2 hours about twin, and we said twin for 30 seconds. So when you do information on this thing, you know what I'm saying? See that window? Make it clear, dog.
Yeah, no, we are, but bro, obviously, we're
thank you. That's all I'm asking, because I'm here.
Well, for me, it's just one of those ones where what I measured success at when I was younger is very different to now, and it will probably be very different in the next 5 years and very different 5 years after that. So I'm saying to people, separate what you consider success from what you consider desirable.
Yes, that's for real. Yeah, that's for true.
And what do you consider as a Dan that I don't know?
Now, what's desirable is my big forever house. You get me? Like, I want my kids in the. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different.
What's
it's
success?
Not just obviously, man, still on the Gucci and all of that. You get me? Like,
desirable.
I still, but that's secondary now.
So what's success?
Success is being able to. For me now, I've got kids in it, so being able to provide a better life for my kids than I had growing up. That's it.
Success.
See the man they move today. They just see
and this is it, yeah. One of my good friends, like sometimes, like we were both into music together, but he stopped doing it. He had a child early, innit? And so he had these commitments that he felt that he needed to do, which was fine. And I carried on doing what I was doing or whatnot, And so sometimes when we speak on the phone, he's always looking at me like, oh, bro, like you're like, bro, it's mad, like how far you've come and you're successful or whatever. And I look at him and I'm like, bro, you're successful. I go into your house and I see like I see kids that are super happy. I see someone who can provide for his kids. Wow. I see his missus is happy. Like you go in there and everything just feels, obviously like everyone, they have their ups and downs and that, but his kids are like a mirror of him, and it's like I walk into there and I feel like I would love to have this one day. So it's like there are different ways again to measure it and look at it, but I'm like, you might see maybe I think for him, maybe more so, he's more leaning to the desirable side. Exactly. Do you get what I'm saying? Not to say that I don't feel like I'm successful, because there's times when I do. There's certain times when I do. But But I think for him sometimes, and for a lot of people, they look at like, oh, like you had a conversation with this person, or you had a conversation with that, and like that is more desirable than it is the actual what you think is
doing well.
success.
And you know what? Like maybe don't even get that because you are successful, and what they're seeing as you as being successful, they're actually right. But I'm just saying, some people think things are not what they are, innit?
I just thought something. This is mental. So I thought, because my friends weren't like me in school. I went to a middle class school. So like like they were, North Harringay was like middle class school. Like one of our mates was in Coronation Street. Their dad was in Coronation Street.
So their whole got shut down in that.
What's that?
What school was the one that got shut down?
D&K. Lit. That was the secondary one. That was lit. Okay. North Harringay was kind of lit. People were having sex in year 6. Right. I didn't, obviously not myself. My mum's tiger uppercut was rude boy on some next thing. What do you mean, Sagat? Sagat. Come on, scar in the chest.
My gran put me in a Boston crab, but that's a conversation for another day.
Who did?
My nan.
That explains the beard. But I feel basically, it doesn't even make sense. Bro,
I love those kind of cusses. You see, like when someone does that, you'll be like, oh, but your gun's got 3 feet. And then
you know how we're talking about what we consider and desire and success, I think the maddest thing is the home. It is the home. I thought about like the first 16 years of my life, and when I think about it, daddy's always on road. And mum's just in the kitchen smoking, doing a crossword, laughing with her friends. So that means whoever raised me would have been television and outside. And that means everybody I met outside probably went through the same circumstances as me in home. So that means television raised us. So that means everything we thought was success was built from what we saw on television and what they said was success. And on TV, I just want to buy stuff. So that means money has to be an objective because if I don't have money, I can't buy all the stuff that they say is, lit on television. So essentially, I think the biggest problem with the younger demographic is that the things that are directly in their face, which are going to have more of an influence on them than their parents and stuff like that, are desires. And then if the people that are what you deem to be successful are replicating those desires, then that's when I think it becomes a problem. That's why it's really nice to see like Dave in a tracksuit when he's winning a Brit, because it's like the picture of him in his car is never going to be as shareable as the picture of him in a tracksuit winning a Brit. So what Dave does is he normalizes the opportunity for you to win a Brit.
Mercury award as well, I think.
He did the thing with the Mercury. That's why I really like him, because it just makes it seem very. He didn't wear a suit, like he wore a tracksuit, and that's the attire that I reckon a lot of generation of people aspire can afford. So to be a successful Dave, it costs you about £150. I think I like that. Yeah. I think when your idea of success is attached to something which is millions, it's like to become that is too difficult. Yeah. But Dave makes him becoming him. You get £150 and you talk some bloody sense.
I could go to Nike and buy me that tracksuit.
And then as long as I talk sense, because Dave talks a lot of sense, something everybody else can do as well. Now your objective and your desire to be something which you consider successful is actually accessible today. So therefore you reach success a lot earlier. So you're like, what's the next thing? The twist with this, the big con I think, is the fact that they make young people desire things that in a lifetime might not even be achievable if you use the method that you're probably learning in the environment that you're learning in. They don't tell you the procedure, give you the end result, but 3 people have done it. We all can do it. It's just like, oh my God, this is a con. But no one ever sees it. So I think we have to proper re-educate a younger audience about, especially in that first 16 years. I think after the 16 years, you do have the guy that turns a bad man at 30, because in his mind, because I've missed a couple years of school, I've got to go and, you know what I'm saying? I say like, for example, you flop your exams, you got to go retake them. Yeah, I think he's been resitting.
At 30, I look at you as the same person who's getting attacked for the first time at 35.
Maybe he's resitting his exams for like the 12th time.
I think even more important than success is making sure you on your quest for success doesn't cost you your happiness.
Yeah, for real. Yeah,
bro, trust me, this thing is.
What did you eat today?
I don't know, bro.
My brother, you're touching.
But you see what I'm saying though? Like, as in that's more important. How many? There's been hella famous successful people that you just find them dead. That's it.
They committed suicide.
So it's not always. I get it. You know what? There is a nice feeling about getting something nice, something that you've always wanted. The car, whatever it is, but not.
Do you want to come in?
Hey, come, replace me. Super sub.
I've got to go.
No, you don't have to go nowhere. Bro, you don't have to go nowhere.
He looks like he plays in League 1.
But we ain't gonna go nowhere. So we got 20 minutes. 20
there. Come, super sub.
No, you ain't finished saying what you're saying.
But I'm saying, in general, keep
Just 20 minutes.
You stay your ass here. You stay for another 20 minutes.
Alright, in general, it's important to make sure your happiness, like whatever you're doing, your priority should be making you happy. And if it makes you happy to be a fucking the most shittest trade, whatever the job is, but that's what you want to do it. Trust me, this thing is happiness is non-negotiable.
Yeah, and the con is, don't look at somebody else's ability to do something really well and think that is what you was meant here to do. They've actually had a journey which you never saw before they got to the point where you did see them, which allowed them to be that person. You have to figure out what does your journey allow you to be and do that.
Yeah. Are you not going to keep it this deep for the whole convo?
Hopefully not.
This is getting mad because Specs coming on.
Yeah,
and look, he's here.
No, we don't. They ain't seen this side of Specs before.
Because there is that doesn't exist, Chuckie. He's a madman.
Chuckie, I'm not.
Just sit down. Just sit down and get back up.
Next. Don't do it if you don't feel. He don't feel comfortable. We can't do it.
Just sit down and get back up. You ain't got to talk. Just sit down and then get back up.
I hate Chuckie because I know what he's doing now. Look at this.
Now you can get back up.
You can go.
You can go.
You can go.
What, are you going to show my shirt in that?
No, your hair.
Oh, okay.
You can get back up now.
That's success.
Are you really going?
Yeah, man. I've got to go for this far, bruv.
You got to go where?
Got to go all the way to Bowl.
Bro.
Goodbye.
Mad.
You'll reach there by
it's
tomorrow.
around the corner.
Yeah, it's far, man.
Bro's 10 minutes. No traffic, bro. There's no one on the road. There's no one on the road.
He said he's going to drop you as well.
Do you know what? Yeah, people have been asking for you to come on anyway, but we'll do it properly. Huh?
I know, but you know what it is?
What is it?
I'm not serious, man.